I really like our blender, and I'll tell you why. Not too long ago, I realized that I wanted to be a healthier person and eat more vegetables. The problem is, I don't really like the taste of many vegetables at all on their own. So what I realized I could do was stick them in a blender with some other better tasting things and make a not so bad smoothie. So what I do almost every day is take some kale and carrots and broccoli and put them in with a banana, some frozen fruit, protein powder, that kind of thing. Mash it all together, and it actually comes out as a fairly good tasting smoothie that is not only good tasting but healthy, and it gets me a lot of veggies. Now, it makes a pretty terrible plopping noise when I'm dumping it into my cup, and my wife hates that sound. And it kind of looks disgusting, but it's actually healthy and pretty good tasting. Now, I think what I just described is kind of a good analogy for what God can do in our lives. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that God takes our lives and mashes them into oblivion and we just end up mush in the end. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I am trying to say is this, that a few weeks ago, as I was sitting down to do my devotions and prayer time, I was kind of worrying about something going on in my life at the time. And when I sat down to pray, I thought, oh, I need to stop thinking about that and start focusing on, a spiritual issue because I'm trying to pray to God right now. But then I thought, how odd that I would do that. How odd that I would say, one part of my life is spiritual, this other part of my life is not spiritual. This one part of my life is interesting to God and worth praying about, but this other issue is kind of trivial or not important to God. To use a different metaphor quickly, it's kind of like uh, my life was a pizza with slices, and I was only giving certain slices to God, but kind of thinking that other slices were mine to handle. Um, Almost like, you know, God is concerned about forgiving me for sins or whatever, but if it's just something, it's not even sinful. Like when I'm worrying about something, it's not really a sin per se. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's almost just kind of embarrassing, maybe, to give that to God or something. I don't know. But I don't think God works that way. I think he sees us as whole beings. And you know that verse that we like to quote often about God makes everything work together for the good of those who love him. And we often think in terms of, God takes all the events in our lives and makes them work for our good. But I would, I would say that that applies equally as well to all the different parts and aspects of our lives. Um, Not only the sinful parts, but just the embarrassing parts, the worrisome parts, the troubling parts, the good, the bad, all the pieces of our pizza. And when I realized that as I was sitting down to do my devotions that time, it was actually this really relieving, peaceful feeling to think that I can just give my whole self to God and he cares about it all, and he's actually able to use it all. Um, it's not like some issues are just mine to figure out. Everything can be given to God and used by him. Um, even me in my silly worries and stresses of the day, God can use it. So just like I can throw in some bad tasting foods and some good tasting foods into a smoothie and it turns out good, I think God can take the good parts of your life and the bad parts and turn it all for good. Peace out.